everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys first person replay commentary. This is going to be a Timbersaw game. Hope you guys enjoy it. Sorry I didn't upload this yesterday. I ran out of time in the afternoon and then I had to stream and then I streamed and then I was going to upload a stream video but Twitch bugged out and I didn't upload the game on time so I didn't get anything up. I'm sorry about that. Yesterday at least. But this is a Timbersaw game. This is one of the last games that I'll show you guys from the line this weekend. I'll tell you guys how it went at the end, I guess, maybe when I'm done with all the replays, but yeah, we'll hop right into it. Check out the Dota buff first and foremost. Timbersaw is one of the lesser played heroes in the game, which is a little surprising to me because I think he's really fun and he's pretty good. But his win rate is quite low, 45.6%. I think this is just because people are bad at a hero that is slightly complicated, and he is slightly complicated. I wouldn't define him as complicated, I would just say he's slightly complicated. His win rate in the off lane is a little poor. His win rate in the safe lane is apparently a little higher, but it's very rare. I don't know where the win rate gets down to 45, maybe roaming Timbersaw or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but if you've got the ability build, this is actually correct in almost all fashions. Sometimes your skill build will adjust very slightly. Some games, if you go mid, for example, you'll get 2 in reactive armor usually. Or maybe if you're in the safe lane, you might max Whirling Death first or something. Or if you're in the safe lane, usually you'll go 2 Whirling Death, 2 reactive armor is usually what you do. But in the off lane, this is pretty much the build. You usually want a really, really long distance Timber Chain with a faster speed. That way you can escape damage and things like that. So yeah, this build's pretty much exactly what I did this game, I believe. For items, Bloodstone is pretty much the core. You always need a Bloodstone, almost always, because there's just simply too much. You just need so much mana, so it's really important to have it. The only time that you will not go Bloodstone first is if you're against somebody that has fast Orchid or a Silence that can just basically blow you up, because if they have an Orchid, then you can't really do anything for 6 seconds. In which case, I've seen some Timbersaws rushing Euls in the past with good success, and I think that build is okay situationally. Follow-up items. Aghs Scepter is very, very good because it gives you 2 Chakrams, which basically damages your ult damage, doubles your damage of your ultimate. So that ability or that item is very, very good for Timbersaw in the late game. But sometimes you need other items such as Blade Mail. Pretty low win rate on this, but against some heroes it's good to have it. I'm trying to think of an example. Huskar is a hero that it's okay against because Huskar does a lot of damage, but you can oftentimes escape the Huskar, so it's not a big deal. So I'd say Blade Mail is, as a whole, not good. I wouldn't really recommend it. Look at all the low win rates on these things. It's because usually you have Stout Shield and Wand when you lose games, basically. Whereas if you're winning, like we said in other videos, you're going to have better items like this. Boots of Travel, 71% win rate. That's because if you're able to buy Boots of Travel, then you have tons and tons of money. Boots of Speed is not a bad item to have on Timbersaw because you start the game off with Arcane Boots, you disassemble it to make Bloodstone. And then in the late game, oftentimes you'll just have brown boots because upgrading your boots on Timber is really not needed unless you want the extra 50 movement speed from Boots of Travel, which is sometimes worth it. So Shiva's Guard is also very situationally purchased because if they have a lot of physical damage output, you will need a Shiva's Guard, and it's also a way to give you more mana pool and reduces your enemy's attack speed and also gives you more AoE damage. Shiva's is very great. Definitely one of the pretty much 4 situational items that you get after Bloodstone. And finally, an Octarine Core has the highest win rate of all the items here, I believe. Yeah, a little bit less than Boots of Travel, but it basically gives you more HP and more mana pool, which is exactly what you need. And you're also able to lifesteal upon your spells, which is cool because it's a good way to remain tanky and gives you more mana pool, all that good stuff. So Octarine Core makes a lot of sense. If you were 6 slotted, you would probably want something like Boots of Travel, Aghs Scepter, Shiva's Guard. Did I say Boots of Travel already? Bloodstone, Aghs Scepter, Boots of Travel, Shiva's Guard, Octarine Core. That's 5 items, with the 6th being something else depending on what you need. Maybe a Blink or something like that, who knows. Maybe an AC as well for extra armor, depending on what you need. Maybe a sheep, who knows. Very good versus AoE heroes are heroes that have a lot of AoE, such as Phantom Lancer. You can clear his illusions very fast. Meepo, you do pure damage, which cuts right through his magic resistance, and he has a lot of them, so you can kill him very easily. Chaos Knight, you can kill his illusions very easily. Works okay versus Winter Wyvern because when you armor somebody, you can just kill them anyways because that's physical resistance, not pure damage resistance, because such a thing does not exist. If I didn't make that clear yet, you do almost all pure damage when you're playing Timbersaw, with the exception of Whirling Death. This ability only does pure damage if it also cuts down trees when you spin, so that's important to remember. And good against anything else. Pretty good against Brood. Basically AoE heroes, heroes that are countered by AoE, and also strength heroes. You have Naga Siren, another illusion hero. And heroes like Axe and Lycan are countered by it because they're strength heroes. And when you Whirling Death somebody, you're reducing their primary attribute by 15% for 7 seconds. So if they're a strength hero, that means you lower their max HP by 15%. or maybe not their total HP, but you reduce their HP due to strength by 15% for the 7 seconds, which basically gives you a better chance to burst them during the duration. So landing Whirling Death is really important. That's why you see Lycan and Aghs appearing on the best versus. This section actually is quite accurate. It's very easy to theorycraft and understand. We had trouble with it yesterday or the day before, but these are all I can very easily see why Timbersaw is good versus these heroes. Here's heroes he's bad against. Juggernaut, because tons of physical damage. You can just Omni Slash the Timbersaw. He may be able to Timber Chain out of it, but as a whole it'd be a little dangerous. He is bad versus Skywrath Mage because Skywrath Mage does largely magic damage and can silence very easily. So against a Skywrath Mage, you'll oftentimes need to Euls. Against Lifesteal, you can go magic immune so your abilities don't hit him, and he does a lot of physical damage. So Lifesteal is pretty good. Zeus is very good as well because he has a ton of magic damage, which kind of cuts through you. Basically, Magic Burst is a counter. Silencer silences, obviously, which disables you from being able to cast your spells and escape. Pugna does a lot of magic damage, and as well, Netherward will also hit you for some big hits. Death Prophet, silence, lots of magic damage, and I'm surprised that Weaver's here actually because Weaver can get bursted down fairly easily. I would argue that Timbersaw's this matchup is, as you can see on the percentage, it's a little close. It's not super one-sided by any means, but it's slightly in Weaver's favor, and that's basically because Weaver can, if he survives the burst, he can time-lapse and come back to full HP, and he often does. Once he gets something like a Desolator, he would actually be pretty good versus Timbersaw, because you can dodge some of his abilities. You don't have to worry about the Chakram slowing you, because you can always run outside of it. So it's kind of a, in some ways I would argue, a balanced matchup. Timbersaw counters Weaver if he's ahead in farm. Weaver counters Timbersaw if he's ahead in farm, which is kind of a cool way for matchups to go. So it makes a lot of sense. His stat gain is okay, really good int gain, pretty darn good strength gain. His movement speed's pretty weak, but that's okay. And his base armor is really bad, but again, not a big deal because his third skill, if you take damage, will give you an armor. He did get a slight nerf to this recently, I believe, in the sense that a ranged attack hitting you doesn't proc the armor until it actually hits you. Instead, it used to be as the animations came through. So, but it did get buffed up to 5 max stacks at level 1, so it's about 25% better. So that's Timbersaw. Myself, when I play Timber, if we go for the... There we go. 28 or 17 days ago was my last game. That was a pub at least. I've got a 57.14 win rate. I actually really liked Timbersaw when he first came out and I started playing him. He was probably my favorite hero at the time. I really enjoyed playing him, but my win rate's quite high. Relatively, my KDA is pretty high, and I feel good at this hero. So hopefully that will influence how you guys feel about him when I play him. So that's Timbersaw background. So again, Captain's Mode game, playing with DPM, Eosin, Lumi, and Tom. If we hop through our drafting, we picked our supports first. We ended up getting a Gyrocopter, who's pretty good versus Spirit Breaker. The reason we picked it is because if the supports leave, Gyro can very easily solo zone the Spirit Breaker because he just presses Rocket Barrage and he does a stupid amount of magic damage to Spirit Breaker. So really bad lane for Spirit Breaker to be in. They picked Zeus really early, and we saw in the Dota buff that Zeus is actually pretty good versus Timbersaw. But due to them picking Huskar here, we thought that it was very light. We basically needed a counter versus Huskar because Gyrocopter doesn't counter him really because it's almost all magic damage. Winter Wyvern does a lot of magic damage. Lion does a ton of magic damage. Viper does mostly magic damage with some physical from Nether Toxin. Nether Toxin's okay versus Huskar, but it's not amazing because lowering his HP in the first place is kind of tough. So we decided that we need an offlane that countered Huskar, and your solutions are basically either pure damage or physical damage. You need one of those two things to be able to kill him. Otherwise, there's no solution. So one of those two ways is the only way, because you can't kill him with magic, basically. So it's either physical or pure. So we said we pretty much have to pick a Timbersaw here because it counters Huskar. So we grab Timbersaw. He'll counter Huskar. He's pretty good versus Spirit Breaker. He's a little weak versus Zeus and a little weak versus Disruptor. But as a whole, Timbersaw, a really good hero. So that's why we ended up picking him in this game. And we will jump forward here. Go into player perspective. I was given an Observer Ward here. I ended up blocking the pull camp, walked up at the beginning of the game. I went for Boots start. The only reason I went Boots here is because versus a Huskar, if I got caught, I was very, very likely to die. So I thought it would be better to keep a movement speed advantage over my opponent Huskar. And Timbersaw versus Huskar in lane is actually terrible. You don't really want to lane this, but we kind of felt like we had to because of the fact that we needed a Timbersaw in this game to counter the Huskar. So this is yet another offlane game for you guys to learn from, hopefully. But the movement speed advantage is pretty important. Once Huskar hits 6, it's a little harder to stay alive. But as long as I keep more movement speed than him, I should be in a fairly good place. So I basically don't feel comfortable coming up to last night. First of all, I saw the support coming. So I'm going to have to sit back. I maybe should have gotten my reactive armor here. I ended up not skilling until level 2 because I wasn't completely sure if I was going to need something else. But yeah, I just didn't skill. For now, I'm just walking back and I'm doing my best to creep block and mess up creep blocks. And important to do so because if I don't mess up the creep block, then there's a good chance that they're going to be able to pull. And I want the creep equilibrium to get messed up so that I can get experience. But unfortunately for me, they did end up dewarding my ward, which is not too surprising. That camp is really hard to block offensively. Almost every time I block it, it gets dewarded, especially if they do start with sentries. So I wasn't too surprised to see that happen. We had Lumi sniping a courier this game, which is really good. That helped things out a lot, so hurt Zeus a bit. And now I'm finally getting some experience. Unfortunately, it looks like they are pulling if you take a look at the map. And if I do come up, I am going to get harassed by the Disruptor. That is what that hero is called. By the Disruptor, and sometimes the Huskar will also harass me. So, if you don't go for a boot start build, I recommend going for a Stout Shield, a Self Tango, and probably a Mango as well. I think the extra regen is pretty good. I didn't actually, it looks like a melee creep didn't actually get through here, but I stayed for it a little bit, so I'm going to take some damage here. But I was able to save the range creep, which is good for me because it's one more creep last hit that I can get for sure. When you're last hitting range creeps under a tower, hit them once, and then it's 2 tower hits, and the second hit should kill them. So pretty easy last hit for me to do here. And it's also been leveling up my armor, which is actually really nice. Downside is I didn't have a Stout Shield, but over the course of the regen, it should keep me healed up. And that's one of the reasons Stout is so good, because if you block the damage that the creep does to you, you still get the armor layer. And the armor layer doesn't just give you armor, it also gives you regen. It gives you 1 regen for 16 seconds. So basically, you think of it this way. Every hit you take before you hit max armor, you will heal 16 of that HP over the 16 seconds. So if a rage creep hits me, or if a creep hits me and I Stout Shield block all of the damage, like 16 damage or something, then I'm basically healing for 16. So a really good way to get heals as Timbersaw is to tank creep waves. That way your armor goes up and your regen goes up, and then you can end up being survivable. And that's another important thing for teamfights as well. If I'm thinking about going into my opponents, you don't necessarily want to initiate when you have 0 armor. You want to tank the creep wave a bit until your armor gets closer to 16, and then you can initiate. That way when they start doing damage, you're already damage blocking the maximum amount. And again, I didn't really feel very comfortable coming up here for last hitting, so I ended up playing very safe, just focusing on experience, especially because I didn't have a huge amount of HP regen here. This is a nice creep interruption by me. He did a creep pull, he connected them together, and now all you basically have to do is run through there and take the body block. And because he fissured there, I had to run around a bit longer than I maybe wanted to, but once I back up to here and the creeps leave me, I'm in a good place. The only way this would have gone bad was if the Disruptor hit the large camp and pulled it back into that creep wave, in which case I would have lost the gold. So I was wondering if that was going to happen, and then when I saw them on the map, I realized the creeps didn't get pulled into the large camp. That means that their creep wave is going to push no matter what, which means I will be getting some experience. So I was pretty happy about this. And this is basically what you should be aiming to do as an offlaner in almost all cases. You want to mess up the creep equilibrium so that there's nothing they can do about it. You want the creep wave to push so that you will be getting farm and last hits. And the main thing to look for is the range creeps. As soon as there are more range creeps than there are melee creeps, then you're in a really good spot. So creep wave will push under tower, and I should be in a fairly okay position. So one thing that I didn't take into account is whether or not the Earthshaker would have swung around here and gone for a kill on me. I did reduce the Huskar's damage a bit, but I took way... Actually, I don't even think the Earthshaker killed me. That was just me getting too close for the Disruptor. I should have been a lot more safe about them killing me, because they had a very, very real chance of killing me. Disruptor was level 3 there, so his glimpse range was pretty big, and the Huskar was level 4, so every time he hit me with a Burning Spear, I took 70 magic damage, which is a huge amount of damage for what my HP is. So a bit of a mistake for me to die there, but it wasn't the worst as compared to some of the other deaths that I had this tournament. And luckily for me now, the creep wave is pretty much dead, so I can safely finally come up and last hit. I did have to buy a TP there to come back to the lane faster, because this is one of the few times that the creeps were actually under tower and therefore was going to be able to give me experience. But I didn't feel too bad about it. Experience is more important than gold, basically, for offlaners in almost all cases, because once you hit 6, you basically pick offlane heroes that are able to get kills using their levels. You don't really pick offlane heroes that are greedy like cores. You don't pick a carry for offlane, right? That's because you would lose experience and you would lose gold. So instead you generally pick offlaners that can do enough with just a little bit of experience. So that's the goal here. So for now, continue to play safe. Huskar is level 5 here, so once he hits 6, I have to be extra scared. Supports were missing here. I don't know if I called that or not, but I didn't really know where they were going to be. Also, I would argue our wards are a little weak. We have one observer ward that's up right now, but you could grab a second ward earlier than this. At this point, I checked Huskar's items, said he's going fast armlet, which is pretty much what everybody expects, right? Pretty consistent to see a fast armlet. Still no supports on the map, which is pretty weird. I don't know if they were stacking or what. Looks like Zeus is TPing mid. I actually have no idea where the supports are right here, but they've been missing for a long time. They're probably setting up a gank somewhere, but I didn't really know where. With that in mind, I maybe should have gotten a teleport scroll in anticipation of it being mid, because if it's mid, then I can teleport mid to help out. But I basically can't even last hit, because if I come up to last hit, Huskar is going to Burning Spear me at least 3 times. If he Burning Spears me, I probably should have side pulled here, maybe. But I moved over to see if they're at the small camp. This is a little scary because the Huskar was shifting over here. He wasn't 6 yet here. That looked really dangerous, but I was able to steal the small camp basically, which is also going to push the wave. And I might be able to be here for this fight as well. But it looks like the fight stopped, so I needed to get out at this point. If I was able to get there a little earlier as the Viper was alive, maybe I could have helped get a kill. But before you hit 6, your burst damage is kind of weak. Timber Chain does what? 180 pure damage, which is getting close to about a 300 magic nuke, and then the Swirling Death is about 100. So it's a good amount of damage. It's about half of a support's HP. If it's a Earthshaker, a lot more than that, because it would be reducing his max HP. But everybody else, it's not the best. So I probably should have done a side pull against the Huskar. That might have been okay. It's not always the best to do, though, because it guarantees me farm, but it gives them a little bit extra because they're able to kill the neutral creeps while also killing their wave. So it's a little... If they're anywhere near good at last hitting, then it's very, very easy for them to get that. I called the Huskar TPing the bot lane. I think our Jaro was going to end up being okay unless he got caught. Viper solo killed the Zeus, which is really good for us. And because the Huskar TP'd away, this basically meant that I get free farm now. And I was really happy about this because this guarantees that I should be able to get Arcane Boots. And with Arcane Boots, I basically am able to use my mana a lot more. So level 6 is online. I've got my TP scroll ready to go. I've got Arcane Boots. I've only had once, which was not too bad. As a whole, this game was probably my second best offlane game of the tournament, I think. And because we don't really know where the Huskar is, I think there's I have to be a little bit more careful here, basically. I'm kind of watching the creep waves. I'm waiting to see if somebody's going to come from the right side. And Huskar eventually does end up coming back to the lane. So this means that I'm going to use my last tank and go to side pull, I believe. He's got an armlet up as well. This is a side pull I was talking about. I do a side pull, which guarantees I get another creep wave, but it's going to guarantee that he gets a neutral camp of Wildkins in addition to the creep wave here. I was thinking about TPing in that bot lane, but... God's double kill. Looks like they end up getting punished for that. Don't use mana if you don't have to, basically. Should have gotten that melee creep as well. Huskar was missing here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So, my mistake there was I at first he ulted me and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, and I TP'd out. And then I realized his HP was at half and he was standing near trees and I could have just fucking killed him. And that's what I should have done. It was nicely done by the Huskar there. By leaping into the missile, he dodges it. So that was well played by him. But I should have gotten that kill. As soon as he ulted in, I should have realized that he was by trees. And all I had to do was cast Whirling Death in my combo and he would have 100% died. So that was a pretty big mistake. I definitely could have killed him there. I was quite frustrated about that. But I basically, my game sense was a bit weak that I realized, like, I should have been looking at his 6 and realized, like, okay, he's 6. He's going to look for an ulti opportunity. I'm a Timbersaw. My hero's good versus him. I'm level 6. He's level 6. All I have to do is burst him down in the first combo, and then I'm in a really good place. So immediately I respawn, and we smoke. and we're going to gank. And I wanted to do this because my laning stage had gone okay, not great. That second death put me a bit behind. Oh, that was really unfortunate. The smoke broke as the Zeus went to go stack the jungle, so that was pretty crappy. A little bit of a disrupt ulti here. I should have Timber Chained in there. I think I was a little overly scared about that. Killed the creeps that the tower wouldn't hit us. I also cut a path if they needed. Unstoppable. Viper actually did get the Earthshaker, surprisingly.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Everybody's back up, so this gets a little scary.
Middle tower is under
it's like Huskar is going to get top out of this, but it's fine.
Structures are fortified.
So, yeah, I did that a little weak, I think. Also, I TP'd there. I don't think I needed to teleport there.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
My Timber Chain was a bit weak also. Ooh. Oh, I still end up dying. So much damage. Every single time. Like, every single one he hits me with is 220 times 7. It was, what, 70? 10 times 7 is 70, so it's 140 apiece. So if he hits me with 3 of those, he's doing, like, 420 magic damage or something like that. 280, 320, yeah. 420 magic damage with 3 spears. That's, like, most of my HP. If he hits me with an ult first and then hits me with 3, I just die. Like, it's so big. And I just came up to throw a Chakram to last hit, but I got way too close. I got within his ulti range, so easy kill for him. Actually fucked up a lot this game. I thought I did okay, but my early game was moderately weak, I would say. Like, I only died once in the lane until that second death, and this third death was really not okay, because we didn't get a kill out of it. It was just Huskar getting kills, so I don't know, that was bad. And then I bought a cloak because I realized I was taking so much magic damage, and they also had a Spirit Breaker, and they had a Zeus and a Disruptor and a Shaker. All of their heroes actually do tons of magic damage, so it's pretty clear that I was going to need some magic resistance this game. So I thought the fast cloak would help out. Now, normally you'd want to get like a point booster first, but because my game wasn't going very well, I realized that magic resistance was what I was going to. There's a fight bottom. So watching to see who showed up here. The combo you usually do when you're playing Timbersaw, by the way, is you throw out the Chakram onto the person, and then you Timber Chain past them to get the Timber Chain damage, and as you pass through them, you need to press Whirling Death, your first skill. If you do that correctly, then you're usually doing a ridiculous amount of damage, about 200 for Chakram, plus a little bit extra. I was predicting that he was Roshing because he didn't show up to that bot fight, and he wasn't top. So I told the team that he was Roshing. I was like, he's definitely Roshing. Oh, that's really scary for Lumi. Because it's very common for Timbersaws to Rosh, right? Like, it's very, very common. They Rosh all the time. In pubs, at least. They'll get an armlet, and then they'll go try to solo Rosh. Tom, I don't mana here, but I have Arcanes, which is good. Oh, I don't even know if I do it. Oh, good, I did get it. I was too scared there. I should have gone straight past right away.
Hilarious.
So what I should have done there, let me back it up because I don't think I played this game very well upon watching the replay. Alright, it's playing pretty scared. I arcaned everybody, which is good. Right now, what I should have done was I should have thrown the Chakram right here. And I waited for a while. Like, I should have Chakram this whole time. Bam, Chakram on 3, and then I should have moved forward, and I should have Timber Chained right there. Like, this whole time, I could have Timber Chained easily.
Hilarious.
Because I could have basically Chakrammed and Timber Chained like 4 heroes there. But instead, all I did was I like Whirling Death 1. So there I finally chalked him like 3 heroes. But again, could have Timber Chained all the way through. Caught everybody. And it ended up working out fine. With maybe Zeus living. Looks like the Zeus did end up dying, I assume. Yeah. So we ended up killing them all, but it shouldn't have been that close, right? I could have just jumped through all of them and done a combo. I could reduce all their stats by 15%, that lowers their mana temporarily. I could have hit them all with the Timber Chain. I could have basically done like 500 magic damage to every single one of them. And we still got a 5-man team wipe, but I played that fight really shit, honestly. Despite it going good, I shouldn't look at that fact. I should look at how I played the fight. And the fight was played poorly. Really poorly there. So we get the 5-man, we get Roshan, we get Aegis, and at this point their lineup kind of sucks. Like, if they got the Roshan for free there, then that puts them in a really good place. But we actually have a very good early fighting team with Gyro, Timbersaw, Viper, Lion, Winter Wyvern. Like, those heroes are all pretty much at a good place here. Perfect amount of greediness. It's actually, we have a very good early lineup, basically. They have a very early lineup, basically, but ours is a better balance of, like, carry potential, physical damage, different damage sources, things like that. Like, their disables aren't very easy to stack either. They didn't have, like, Lion, Earthshaker. They have, like, Spirit Breaker with Disruptor and Earthshaker. It's like not that much damage, and it's a Zeus's. I don't know. It just doesn't look as good. They can't auto attack as much. They don't have as many options. All that stuff. So with that team fight 1, I got a point booster. I'm going back to the base. I'll be picking up a magic wand, which is a value pickup. 4 stats to everything up to 17 charges is pretty much always worth having. Looks like Aosin's dead here. Unfortunately for me, I could not TP for him. He waited as long as he could. Fortunately, the Earthshaker got away here. And I was moving towards the top lane because I wanted to get a kill on the Huskar. I felt like I could definitely kill him here with help from Disable, so I was asking for someone to TP. I think what we needed to do maybe was bait a TP out. I maybe could have chased him there, but I was waiting for the TP. No, maybe I'm thinking of a different moment. I think I'm thinking of a different moment. Anyways, queue up the Bloodstone. My KDA is okay right here. Excuse me. And since nothing's going on, might as well just farm. I'm pushing this about as fast as I can though. Might be better to keep it more stationary really, but it's not a huge deal to push it a bit. My stats are looking really good here though. Level 11, 1200 HP with a cloak. Feels good. Tried to get that range creep there, but I missed it. I actually lost a lot of CS because of that, unfortunately. 100 gold is a big deal. Didn't really want to buy the slow ring here because I was more worried about HP, so I sold my stout shield and bought a vitality booster instead.
Don't mind if I do.
Now my HP looks really good. And remember, HP is going to stack really well with Winter Wyvern because his heal, or his third skill, Chilling Embrace, is going to heal based on how much HP I have. So if I have this much HP, it'll give me a lot of survivability. Not necessarily something I want on me if the Huskar is directly hitting me, but... So we're pushing top lane now, since we do have a very good early 5-man lineup kind of a thing. And I can be the one to show in lane since I was showing here before, and I think ultimately we did show up everybody to push it a little bit faster. But I'm definitely ready to fight. This is a really good place to jump, or to fight. So many trees everywhere, basically. And I just wanted to chalk them over here to make sure there was nobody hiding. Because if we are going to take a tower fight, it's important to know if somebody's there. So just killing trees helps a lot. One of the really nice things Timbersaw can do.
Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower.
Now we defended the bot lane. And we died almost instantly. Looking, see if I can come back here. Zeus is going to be there. Just want to stand within experience range. And got him. So that actually worked out pretty nice. The extra HP. If I didn't have a vitality booster there, I probably just would have died. And I didn't think that was going to go so well, honestly. Like, once I TP'd in, I didn't cancel the TP. And I kind of felt like I maybe should have, but due to the fact that they had all magic damage and I had a cloak and I had a huge amount of HP, that ended up not being that bad. But I think it should have gone much worse than that. It was honestly a bit of a poor team fight, but luckily my teammates were able to get there in time and clean up. And the Zeus got caught, so that was good for us. So back to heal, got my soul ring, and now I'm just a mere 800 gold about, because you can disassemble arcane boots. You should be doing this every Timbersaw game. If you can get your Bloodstone around 20 minutes, I think that's okay as an offlane Timbersaw. I didn't really feel like I needed a soul ring more than I might have needed a TP, so I opted for the teleport scroll as well. And it looks like Huskar is top. I don't know if we went for a kill on him or not. If you guys want to see the items in the game. Arcane Boots on the Disruptor Urshiker. Urshiker doesn't have Blink yet. I wonder how much gold he has. Is that on any of my hotkeys? Current gold. He has 1400, so he's not that close. I wanted to go for a kill on him top here, but I was waiting for my team basically. Then Lumi TP'd. God, I hate it when Lumi does that. He just shows up in the lane and he just nukes the wave, and I'm like, dude, I'm actually pretty close to Bloodstone. Maybe you should let me finish that. We wanted to kill the Huskar here, and luckily we had that ward down that spotted him out. And by killing all these creeps, we could definitely get up to him. Missed my chakra, but... That was basically a 5-man gank, but that ward paid off really hard. That's a good ward to have, I feel, to kind of protect your offlane, basically, because you can see them approaching.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Almost got Bloodstone, but my mana pool is really low, so I'm going to TP far behind tower because there's a high chance that they were going to die for this. And every last hit is precious, etc. So. This is pretty scary. Just trying to min-max my mana pool a little bit, so I drop my arcanes, or drop my point booster. Gives me slightly more mana. That should do it. So Bloodstone on the way. I think my HP is about the same with Bloodstone. Is it 400? I think Bloodstone gives like 450 HP, whereas it gives 200. Yeah, it's the same HP, so it doesn't increase your HP at all.
Double damage.
Assemble, grab the... There we go. So there we are. Bloodstone. So now I have about 14.4 mana per second. Before I had about 2, so it's a pretty big increase. You don't obviously have the arcane boots pumping you, but the mana pool is going to be a lot better here. Over the course of 10 seconds in a team fight, I have a whole nother spell to cast, so that's far better than an arcane boots, right? But I guess that also includes the soul ring a bit, if you think about it. But pretty happy here. The team has basically all the items we need. We have a mech on Viper. Blink Dagger online. Winter Wyvern doesn't really have much, but a cloak is going to go a long way. And Gyro has the Slender Nyasha with a Helm of the Dominator. So that on top of a potential BKB will be very good for our team. Go for the smoke. We're going to try to get a pick off first, I suppose. I don't know if they had a ward there or not, but when you approach down here, you should always observe a ward, especially if it's nighttime. Didn't see anybody, so we can keep moving. The next ward should go behind the tier 2 tower mid, because that's where our mid is pushing, but unfortunately DPM put it down there, but she didn't understand. And it's not surprising, because we're like, oh, do you have another ward? And she put it down there. But you don't want to put it where you're standing, you want to put it behind the tower that you're about to siege, because if you put it behind the tower, then you can see what you're about to attack into. At this point, we were a little scared for our Gyro, because if he got engaged on by the left, we would be out of position. It would be hard for us to cover him. So instead, I just sat in a position that allowed me to potentially grab any kills on anybody mid. And even though our smoke didn't really do anything there, I felt like it wasn't that bad. A little bit of nuke damage on me by the Zeus, but I don't really care that much. I've got quite a lot of regen here, about 20 per second.
Tower has fallen.
I think we opted to defend here since we just took a tier 2. Definitely not time to go high ground when they have that many tier 2 towers up. We are ahead here, but I don't think we were super ahead. If you look at the graphs, we were pretty ahead. We were pretty darn ahead, I guess. We had a really good advantage at this point.
Illusion.
Got the pickoff. I think I maybe should have chalk armed first. Slightly misusing my abilities there, but it was going okay. I think this is the first Timbersaw game that I had played in a while, so maybe that's why I played a little weak, but I think I definitely played a little weak this game. Alright, and now, because they have only magic damage, I thought that the pipe was definitely the item that we needed. There's actually a lot of games in this tournament that I built pipe on offlane heroes, because I felt like there was so much magic damage flying around. I did on the Bristleback game, remember? I built a pipe that game. Pipe seemed to be the item this game, or this tournament. Tank a little bit of tower, which is completely fine. When the creeps help me out as well, to get up to like 14, I think, yeah. Or, oh yeah, 20 with level 4, that's good. That's fine with me if he actually initiates on me, because my armor was completely full there. Almost full, at least. You can see how much armor is going on with the Timbersaw too if you look at his little helmet. As the armor goes away, it backs off, but if he does have armor, the shield thing goes over his face, so... That's a cool little visual indicator. In case you don't want to check to see how much armor he has, you can just look at him directly and check how much armor, like how many points in reactive armor he has. Because there's basically 4 segments. It goes up like 1 notch, 2 notches, 3 notches, or 4 notches, depending on how much armor he has active. His Timbers combo is a little bit late there. Actually took a lot of extra damage there. Let's check out the Earthshaker's levels here. Yeah, he's pretty low level. The reason that didn't work out is because his Aftershock level was low, so he needed to do Echo Slam Fissure instantly, and he had a bit of hesitation between that, so because he didn't have levels, our Gyro was able to get BKB off and we won the fight easily. Whereas if it went the other way, I mean, it didn't even seem like the rest of their team was there to me, but that was a little peculiar, but... yeah, we ended up killing those 2 heroes for pretty much nothing. Just a BKB charge, which is not bad. Not exactly the best Roche team at all, but it kind of works. It probably should be Viper. Viper should be casting Poison Armor on it occasionally, I believe. And Aegis is down. Just wanted to finish my pipe before we went high ground because it makes you so much better. Like, the difference between having a hood headdress and having a pipe is ridiculous. It is so much better. Pipe got buffed again. It does 10% magic resistance aura to your team, which is really amazing. It's half of what Rubik's passive is. That alone makes a big difference. That's almost what a cloak was in the past. So if you're against a super heavy magic lineup like this and you're playing Timbersaw, I think getting a pipe is amazing. It's really, really strong. I had to worry a little bit about dying here, which is the only scary part, but there's some heroes showing mid, so could possibly get away with it. I think I should have maybe taken the large camp looking on the map, especially because my team's pressuring the bot lane, but hard to say. But once I get the last 900, I'll be in a really good place here. Want to go defend mid in the meantime.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Money changes hands.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And about 300 more and I've got it. So creep waves are usually the easiest way to do this.
Dire's bottom tower
At this point, if your team is killing without you being there, then you're in a really good spot. But pipes flying out. Once I have that, we're pretty much set on the high ground. They don't even have very good counter push. It's basically a Fissure and Arc Lightning on Zeus. It's okay, but it's not amazing.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Even ignoring the 10%, you've also
Radiant
got the whole
structures are fortified.
pipe active thing that gets 400
Dire's
HP to
bottom
everybody. That
tower
part's
is
really
under
good too,
attack.
of course. They should have Timber Chain closer, I think. Looks like we lost the gyro there, but it's worth it for just the Aegis. Getting 3 kills is great. Got the pipe off just in time. Nice ulti by Lumi. And that is pretty much what ends the game. So, the game was essentially won. This is probably the easiest game that we had of the tournament in terms of how much we won it. This team ended up giving us a lot of trouble in the finals, but essentially, if you're against a super heavy one-dimensional lineup that's all magic damage, for example, and they have a carry like a Huskar who isn't able to abuse his hero, and the way that you abuse you abuse Huskar is basically always fighting. You take your early advantage with Armlet, and you jump into fights, and you keep killing people. But because we had a Timbersaw, I mean, I feel like they didn't really rotate very well enough. I feel like they were on the back foot the whole game, and they never really got control of it otherwise. But if Huskar doesn't constantly battle and get kills and take Roshans, then the hero's kind of weak. He's very weak compared to another carry, because a hero like Gyrocopter can easily outfarm him. Like, look at the CS difference. We were way ahead, and Huskar basically farmed all game, and Gyrocopter had an extra 30 CS, and he participated in, like, what is that, like 20 more kills than the Huskar did? That means that the Huskar was basically just farming the whole time, and the Gyrocopter was farming and battling, and the Gyro still outfarmed him. And I don't think that Huskar was a bad player at all. He seemed good, and he was. I think they ended up swapping roles after this set, because we beat them 2-0 here. We beat them I think we beat them 2-0, or maybe this is the third game. I think this is the first team we play. No, it wasn't. No, this is the team we 2-1. We 2-1 this team. Wait. We 2-0'd the first team. This is the second team we played, I think. Yeah, I think this is the second team. So we 2-1 these guys. We picked Wisp in the previous match and ended up getting stomped. Well, it wasn't like stomped, but we lost it. I won't upload that game. I played Nyx Assassin that game. That game was not worth watching in the slightest because we executed it really poorly, so it didn't look very good. But I feel like we outpicked them in this game, and we definitely outplayed them a bit. Aosin basically owned mid versus the Zeus, and because he did so well in the mid lane, then their supports were under leveled. Their Zeus was really not that impactful. All he had was a Yules and a Bloodstone, and there wasn't that much damage coming out basically. And Gyrocopter also got overfarmed. We basically got overfarmed on all our heroes. This is the best game we played probably in terms of as a team. Aosin did really well, and I didn't feed too much in offlane, only like 3 times, which is pretty much the whole game. So, but yeah, Timbersaw is very good. You basically go Bloodstone first every game, and then you build an item depending on what you need. Some games you will need a pipe like I did that game because it was all magic damage. Some games if they have like a mix of damage like between physical and magic, then I would go Aghs Scepter second probably. If they have a lot of physical damage, I would go for a Shiva's immediately after. Because you can cast Shivas, you can activate Shivas, and then you can Timber Chain and hit everybody with the Shivas, which is really good because that slows for 40% for 4 seconds. Really good slow. And after you build those items, then you almost always go Aghanims third because it increases your damage a lot. There's gonna be some games that you need a Yules if they end up having silences, or you might need a BKB. Some games as well if they just have a ridiculous amount of stuns, or like Disruptor ulti is kind of a good reason to build Black King Bar, I feel. But I definitely could have played that game a lot better. I wasn't playing aggressive enough, I think. I needed to like fly through my opponents and cast spells a lot, but I was playing a little scared because we were on the lane and I was worried about feeding. And a lot of the fights I took so much burst damage, and I think that really scared me for the rest of the game. Like the few times that I died to Huskar, and some of the amount of damage that I took when I TP'd bottom, for example, was insane. So I felt really scared the rest of the game, and I think there were some moments where I should have played more aggressive. So that's my mistakes that game. Anyways, thanks for watching this Timbersaw game. I'm going to record a bunch of videos today. I don't think I'll upload both today. I might upload 2 today, we'll see. But I'm going to keep recording replay commentaries and uploading those, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I have a ton of pub games of heroes that you guys wanted to see. So I hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.